Thank you, man. Thank you. All right. So somebody just asked me why I'm wearing flip-flops. And so I have to let you, for those of you who can't, like, I'm wearing flip-flops. I sort of had a little run-in with Pebble Tech. You know, the pool's Pebble Tech thing? And it decided to take several chunks out of my foot. So my foot can't get into a shoe. So this is, thank God I had a pedicure yesterday. Okay. I know. See, the universe has a way of working it all out. Thank God. All right, funny title. How does God know what I'm doing? Well, how can God not know what you're doing? It's all God unfolding, right? I guess I should have turned the question around a little bit, or turned the title around and said, it's not how does God know what I'm doing, but am I doing the right thing with God? How's that? Am I doing the right thing? And so I have to question my activity, my actions, my thoughts, things like that. So we're going to dive into that today. Got a quote right from Ernest Holmes. When we ask ourselves how it is that God knows who we are and that our little affairs are important, the answer is that God knows everything, not as big and little. And the thing I wanted to separate out was this last part of that answer, but only as action and reaction, only as contemplation, which produces its own reaction. I know. So let's start there. No such thing as big and little. Can you imagine the universe going, oh, this is a big problem, this is a small problem? No. Everything is just action and reaction. And so it's not big and little, it's just how we cope with things, but the most of it is contemplation. Most of us call contemplation worry, right? Or concern, if you're a good metaphysician. You don't want to say, I worry. No, I'm concerned. You're worrying. Right? You're contemplating in the negative, so let's just call it what it is, right? Contemplation in the negative is worry, and worry is useless, right? It's not going to get you anywhere. But useless activity produces a useless reaction. A negative contemplation is going to produce a negative reaction. What we don't see is the fact that it's not just the good stuff that gets through. It's that stuff that becomes real because that's what we're contemplating. So, have you been contemplating good health? Have you been contemplating peace in the world? How about peace in your own home? How about financial security? How about, in your loving relationships? Have you been contemplating those things, or you've been contemplating the complete opposite because we tend to focus on the mess, not what we want to make? We focus on the mess, not what we want to make. Write that down. I need to have somebody remind me that I like that phrase because I have to say it in second service. I like that idea. I've never said it before. Okay. It must be then that the obstruction is in our own consciousness or from an unconscious resistance created by the thoughts of big and little or hard and easy is what we must overcome. So some of us have a consciousness, oh, this is going to be a big one. It's subconscious. It's just like it's because in our life we have categorized certain life events as really, really tough. And because we've categorized them as really, really tough, because of our contemplation as them being tough, the manifestation will continue to be what? Really tough. Exactly. Because we've already categorized it. We've labeled something as this is going to be impossible, this is going to be devastating, this is going to be huge, this is going to be life-changing, life-altering. Great. Great. But is that how you want to approach it? I would rather, look, I have things go on in my world too. And I try really hard to reframe a lot of things, right? Because it takes a lot of life reframing right now in the world in which we live. It takes a lot of just, okay, how can I reframe this to make this sit well with me? How can I reframe that? So when we have this idea that something's going to be overwhelming, don't be surprised if it is. Because I just set the course for it being overwhelming. But if I look forward to it with great expectancy, hey, yeah, you know what? I'm going to be busy. I'm going to be busy. Not overwhelmed. I'm going to be busy, and it's going to be productive, and I'm going to get done what I need to get done. It makes a difference on how I look at being overwhelmed. Does that make sense? All right. When you are transitioning to a new season of life, the people and situations that no longer fit you will fall away. Remember this. A lot of people think other people are transitioning. They may be, and everyone is in a transition phase, right? But when you're transitioning, don't be surprised if certain people start to fall away in your life. By design, that's supposed to happen. Many times in our world, when people are trying to transition themselves out, we chase them down. Remember? If someone's meant to be in your life, let them be, or they'll come back to you, or whatever that is. And the other one was, if someone leaves your life, hunt them down and kill them. What was there was the other part of that? Yeah, something like that, right? If it's meant to be, they'll come back. If it's not, hunt them down and kill them. I mean, it was one of those play-on things. But seasons of life. Think about, I had a great experience on Thursday. I met up with a woman that we were all really close friends when our kids went through middle school, and then everybody kind of went their own way. And we reunited after a very long time, and it was so interesting because we used to take care of our kids all the time, and I loved them, and just that energy, that reuniting. But they fell away for a time, and now it kind of was nice to touch base with them. Touch base. Got it? Right. All right. Don't fight the process. There is a connectivity with all creation. This is where I fall down. This is where I fall. I look at process, and if it doesn't match up to my expectation as to how things should look, then I question the Creator. Not its creation, I actually question the Creator. Like, what are you thinking? This is not going to work. So, part of my shift is to look at, how do I fight process? How do I look at it, and can I see beyond its current appearance into the potential of what can be, and can I just sort of sidestep the present to look around to know that whatever is unfolding as it should? Most of the time, I get caught staring at the thing that I think doesn't fit, and because I stare at it, contemplate it, aka worry about it, it doesn't move. In fact, it gets bigger. Anybody? Yeah. So sometimes we just have to sidestep, just a quarter step, and go, okay, you know what? I know there's a connectivity. There has to be a connectivity to this. And I know that while I can't say there's a rhyme nor reason to why this is happening the way it's happening, I have to believe that it is happening for my highest and best good. As long as, don't be casual when you say that, because some people will say, it's happening for my highest and best good, and yet they consistently talk about what they don't want, which is why it's unfolding the way it is. So if you're saying it's happening for my highest and best good, you better have your highest and best good on your mind, not the thing that's bothering you. Thank you. All right. Our job is to become aware of our divinity, therefore recognizing I need not be concerned whether I'm seen, but rather how I see others. So now it's not about how I am viewed. That's why I wanted to sing The Face of God today. And that's why I wanted to change locations. And I wanted us to see other people and other cultures and other religions. Because it's not about how I'm viewing myself. It's how I'm viewing others. It's not how they view me. It's how I am viewing all things. That connectivity with all things. Does that make sense? All right. Spirit knows what Spirit is doing. Don't be discouraged by closing doors. If Spirit wants a door to open, you will be certain it will open. All the forces against it cannot stop it. Amen? Hard to work with sometimes. Anybody? All right, 7, good. We have 7 people in denial. I love that. Thank you for joining my team, Denial. Because when I see a closed door, I'm like, really? Really? Okay, now what message am I supposed to get from that? My message is, it will open when it's time to open. Shut up, Joe. Chill out, do your prayer work, stay the course, stay the focus, have the vision, and just don't push all the time. You know? Have you ever gone to one of the, I do that. I go into a store, and you know how you're supposed to pull the door open? You know, because fire regulations require that when you're in a public place, the doors open from the inside out. I tend to forget that. So I will sit there, and instead of pulling the door, I'll push myself right into the 7-Eleven. And I hit the door, and I'm like, what are you thinking? So closed doors, no, just step back. Hold a minute. Part of this is, you know, how does God know what I'm doing? How about, you know, am I following the process of how things unfold? Am I willing to surrender to a process where I have no control but only faith? Yeah. Try going under anesthesia. You're surrendering to a process with having faith, right? But I can do that. Go to the dentist, knock me out, pull out a tooth, I'm cool, right? But in my other life, wait, you want me to what? Surrender to process? No. So I'll do it in some places and not in others. Why? Because I've labeled, go back a few slides earlier, because I've labeled in my mind what I think is possible or not possible. And the universe supports that idea. Does that make sense? All right. The Tao speaks of constancy as we speak of reality, changeless, eternal. I like this idea. The Tao speaks of constancy, right? Of that constancy, consistency, constancy. The Tao speaks of that as a reality, and it speaks of it as a changeless, eternal process. So let me unfold that. So if I can look at things and say, if I can step back long enough to see that there is this constancy in this changeless, eternal reality that is unfolding as what I call my life, I don't have to be so concerned with all the ups and downs because I know I'll be able to ride them. That they're part of this constancy. Does that make sense? I like that. I'm at peace with God. It's the human race that's upsetting me. Anybody? Anybody? And that's not new. That's not new. That's been going on for decades. I'm 55 years old, so I mean, so I have to be. Excuse me. Hold on. I have to be careful where I am placing my negative emotion, right? Because a lot of times I'll look up and I'm like, God, what are you thinking? When it's really not that, it's just my being upset with what people are doing, not the universe. God's cool. I'm at peace with God. I'm just having trouble with everybody else. That's my problem, isn't it? Whose problem is that? That's mine. We need to own that. Own that one. All right. Our only job in this life is to become totally aware of not only our own divinity, but that of all creation. So now I got to figure out how I fit into all this. How do I fit into all this? Whatever I do for a living or what I do in retirement, whatever my life activity is, how is it fitting into the greater scheme of service to not just myself, but to other people? Am I only doing my life my way so that I get what I want? Or is there an element of what I do that helps improve the lives of others? And if I'm not doing something that improves the lives of others, I probably need to look at that and go, if you're wondering why things may not be working out the way they should be or you want them to work out, it may be because you're only serving the self instead of selfless service. Yeah? You guys are in it today, aren't you? Yeah, good. I'm liking this. I'm going to go really fast. All right, next thing. Scripture says this. I love this. You don't understand what I'm doing, but someday you will. Say that out loud. You don't understand what I'm doing, but someday you will. It was said that Jesus, the teacher, said this. I wasn't there. I asked Reverend Marion. She couldn't confirm it. So, I just have to go on, if this were part of a parable or a lesson to be learned, how could I take this instead of the words as they're written, but take it as, what lesson can I see in this? And many times, I can't do this example, shut up. There are things in life that are beyond your control. Anybody have kids? Yeah. Sometimes they do things and you don't understand how that fits into their highest and greatest good because you're like, what? But the new Joe is going, okay, I don't understand, universe, how you're working, but I know you have to be working through whoever, her, the way that you're working through others, so how would I doubt that that's any different here? Why would I place any doubt as to it's working differently with this person than it does with that person, what it does with me and it does with someone else? There's a constancy, a consistency, that it's working through all people at all times. So when I'm questioning the activities of some, then I'm actually questioning the Creator, period, and I have to go, okay, there is a higher and greater good unfolding, and someday I will see that. What's that? It's Father's Day, so yes, no, I'm not talking about it. She's doing great. Kids doing great. But, so, here we go. Actually, we're going to be done really early, aren't we? Wow, sorry. You guys are going to get out of church early today. Yay! But you've been filled full of things to carry you. You know what? Some of these slides are worth picking up. So if you didn't pick them up on the way in, make sure you pick them up on the way out. Here's some steps. Watch to your thoughts. They lead to attitudes. Right? Your thoughts are your contemplation. Remember that? Your thoughts are the way you contemplate things. So watch your thoughts. That looks really... what happened? Has it been that way the whole time? Okay, watch your thoughts, they lead to attitudes. Second thing, watch your attitudes, they lead to words. Okay? First thing is a label. Next thing is I spout my mouth off. Right? I have an attitude I cop an attitude, or a good one. You know, it doesn't have to be negative. Let's change this to the positive. Watch your thoughts, they lead to an attitude. I can change a positive thought, a positive attitude. My attitude leads to words of positivity. So we could do this in the positive. Some of us do it in the negative, some of us do it in the positive, but this is how kind of it works. You ready? Next thing. Watch your words, they lead to actions. They also will, depending on what you're talking about, they will also employ actions for other people. In other words, it's not just people it's just my action. I'm going to ask Carol to join in with me on my consciousness or my belief system, and then she may be part of this action that I'm working on. So if it's a positive one, great. If it's a negative one, not so good, right? So it's not just me, it's who I invite into my life and who joins me in the process. Next thing, watch your actions, they lead to habits. Agreed? Do you like the way this is unfolding? So first we have our thoughts. Categorize them. That becomes my attitude. That attitude starts leading to words. Words start leading to actions. Actions start leading to habits. And now the habit also means there's a consistency in my belief. The question is, was I right from the beginning? This is where I want you to look at making assumptions. And like the 4 agreements, we talk about making assumptions. If you've made a wrong assumption about someone or something, it travels down this ladder. Okay? Now, if I've made a wrong assumption about it, now I'm developing a habit around my belief system that wasn't accurate to begin with. So it's not just about changing my act. So now I have to go back through the ladder and start again. So the things that I thought were right maybe weren't right. This is where that concept of spiritual discernment comes in. This is where I have got to have the spiritual wherewithal to say, oops, I made a mistake. I need to reprogram this. Does that make sense? Because if I go into the process of, if not, then right where that stands, and there's a couple more steps, but right where that stands, I now have a habit of a bad processed thought, a badly categorized thought. Does that make sense? All right, watch your habits. They form your character. Ooh, now people are talking about you. Now that's your character. Now you're either attracting people or repelling people. Now you're either someone they want to invite to the party or someone they're like, nope. Right? Someone they want to have dinner with, someone they don't. So that's where this, so now, see how far down the ladder is? We think it's just at the top. How far down the ladder? To me, it's this, at this point in the ladder is where you engage friendships and relationships based on the things that you've seen and heard. Does that make sense? The last thing is watch your character. It determines your future. Okay? So when you take all these things, watch your thoughts. They lead to attitudes. The attitudes lead to words. Words leads to actions. Action leads to habits. Habits develop your character. Your character defines what you're going to be, how you're going to act, who's going to surround you, what kind of life you're going to live, the people that are surrounding you, the situations that you find yourself in repeatedly. So the question is, where are you on the ladder in terms of developing? Let's watch this. So let's take your health down the ladder. What's your thought about your health? How many people are like, oh my God, it's hell getting old? Anybody? Admit it. Go on. Go to confession. Okay. So you're already in a habit. You've already gone to a bad habit of thinking about your age as it relates to health. So now where do you have to go? Travel back up the ladder. So think about where you are in terms of your relationships, positive, loving relationships. You can call them intimate relationships. You can call them friendships. You can call them your family relationships. You can call, when it comes to your relationships, how would you describe your character in relationships, and then go back up and say, what have been my thoughts about these things? Are they possible? Are they impossible? Do I say, men are impossible, women are impossible, relationships are impossible? Because if I'm using that thought, travel that down the ladder, what do you have? Loneliness at the end. Does that make sense? In what you do when you get up, your creativity, whether it's a job or whatever you do every day. What are you doing? What are your thoughts about the day? If you're bored at the end of the day, go back up the ladder and say, what were your thoughts that created the boredom? And then follow them down the line. Are you with me? So it's not so much what God is doing, how does God know what I'm doing? It's how am I using God in my life? How am I using the spiritual tools that I have to define my process of living? Does this make sense? Yes. I think I'm done. Any questions, anyone? Questions? Questions? Did you get enough for today? Okay, so yeah, no, good. So just so you know, on Wednesday, people keep asking me what I'm doing on Wednesday. On Wednesday morning at 11, it's a 1-hour class, 1 hour, maybe a little bit more. But it's not so much a class, it's going to be a class with a meditation at the beginning. I want to have a little music, I want to get us in the right mindset, and then it is all principle. I'm going to grab the Science of Mind textbook, and we're just going to study together. And I'm going to teach principle. When you can't, a teacher always told me, you can never go wrong when you stick to principle. It's when we veer off from our principles. So I'm going to be teaching spiritual principles at 11 o'clock in the morning, and again at 6:30, I think I said, 6:30. And join me, because it's just spiritual tools to put in your tool belt, just like you had just now, except we're going to spend a lot more time together, and it's going to be a little bit more interactive. Okay? So that's what's happening. Yes? Wednesday. The doctor is in on Wednesday morning at 11, and again, I think it's 6:30. Yeah. Yes. Well, because I never say the same thing twice. And because we'll just be randomly going to pages in the textbook, you're going to learn, unless two people pick the same page, paragraph, and line, which is impossible. But it's going to be, come on. And then we're going to put it together with what's happening in the world. We're going to put it together with what happens in the world today. so much for long, short. This is what this center is about. You know, I'm not trying to teach anybody about what's going to happen in the afterlife. We'll deal with that when we get there. I got issues today. The world has issues today. I'm trying to work on making my life better today and tomorrow. And so if I keep that in line, then using spiritual principle will always unfold a future of good. I just have to make sure that I'm in my present mind doing what I can do and what I know I can do. So the teachings that we teach today, like I want you to take these slides home, and I don't want you to just say, oh, that was great. Take these slides home, talk to someone else about them, and share them so that they have a life. Those words can have a life, and they'll change you. They'll change what you're doing. And maybe you're doing some of these things already, but maybe you need to tweak a few of them. I know I'm always talking about things I need to tweak. So that's what this center's about. And share that with people and bring them in. Have them come in and listen. I don't know if you're a first-timer here, but if you're a first-timer or you've only been coming for a couple months, share this idea with people. And if you've been coming forever, keep bringing people. Because this stuff is going to change how we view everything. It just doesn't change your world and your bubble. It's changing the world. And it changes with all of us come together like this and learn how we have created our future. And then we can see it in other people. And we're not trying to change other people, but we can see how they got there, how I got there, and know a process so that we can change what needs to be changed. Does that make sense? That's what to me, that's what I want to teach at this center. Has always been to look at it, put it in present day, make it relevant, and make it speak to your heart, because there's so many things that can just become overwhelming when you turn on the TV or watch social media, and if you do anything, you can become overwhelmed with it. So in order to do that, in order to really grasp what's happening, this gives you the tools to deal with it. And then it makes sense. It puts it in spiritual sense. Does that make sense? All right, now I'm done. Okay, great, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Joe. That was really good. All right. So at this time, I'd like to call our ushers, please, to come forward. And that those of you that are live streaming, there's a button there for you to donate. Please support the live streaming and support this center. And you can also text your offering. So this, like I always want to remind you, this is also a very sacred time. This is about, we are all stewards of this church. We are all here. This is, you know, we don't own anything. Spirit owns it all, but we are the stewards. We are here to take care of this so that we can continue to change lives one heart at a time. So let us say from that consciousness our offering, please. I offer this gift with joy and gratitude. I receive freely and give freely, knowing the law of circulation is working perfectly in my life and the life of this center.
Okay, folks, here we go. All right, here we go. Come on. Every day I wake up and I say, today I love my life. Every day I wake up and I say, today I love my life. One more time, all the way through. Every day I wake up and I say, today I love my life. Every day I wake up and I say, today I love my life. We got this one. It's up to me to be grateful. It's up to me to be kind. It's up to me to be grateful. It's up to me. It's up to me. Everybody on your feet. Come on, let's go. Come on. Every day I wake up and I say, today I love my life. Every day I wake up and I say, today I love my life. Last time, all the way through. Every day I wake up and I say, today I love my life. Last time. Every day I wake up and I say, today I love my life. Stay standing, please, as we bless the offering.
Yes. So this is Annie Meeks. Annie Meeks is on our board, and so she is one of our great stewards here of our center, somebody who holds that consciousness for all of you and is doing sacred service. So let us together, as we bless this offering, say our prayer together. We bless this collective offering and receive it with gratitude, knowing it is spirit in action. As this currency flows through our center and beyond, it blesses many lives, including my own. Thank you, Annie. All right, thank you, Dale. All right, please be seated. So at this time, I'd love to welcome our visitors. If you are here for the first time, please stand up. We have a gift for you, and we'd love to welcome you. All right, welcome, welcome. And over here, all right, this is great. So anyway, what we've given you is a CD with information about the center, but please take that CD to the front table in the foyer and get a CD of a couple of Dr. Joe's talks. We welcome you. If you're visiting the Valley, please enjoy yourselves. And if you're from the Valley, come back. We'd love for you to be part of our spiritual community and our family here. So let's see. So over in the Ohm Room, especially for those of you here for the first time, that's the building over, the next building over. This is part of our prayer team, and they are over there. And if you're going through anything, or if you want to set an intention, please go over there. And they're called 1 Minute Miracles, because they do a prayer for you, set the intention, and wonderful things happen all the time here. So they're very powerful. Don't forget, this week I have my book study, Soul Sisters. I want to see my women. If you're here for the first time, please join us. Or if you've been here for a while, come join us at Soul Sisters on Thursday. And then we have, there's something here every day of the week. So don't forget Dr. Joe's class on Wednesday. That should be really, really good. And I love what Dr. Joe said. Bring people here. I was talking to Jeff, who does our media. I said, we're like the best kept secret in the Valley, don't you think? I mean, these are the talks, these are the thoughts that will change the world, that are changing the world. And so each one of you knows somebody that you can drag here. That you know that their lives, they are looking for this, right? So anyway, so let's just do a closing prayer. It's so wonderful to see you all. I love being back and being with all of you. And so let's go within. And so from that deep, deep place within our heart, we recognize that love, that law, that is all there is in this universe, is love and law. And each one of us is that divine expression. It is that creation coming through by means of each and every one of us. We are the creators of our reality. We are the creators of our experiences. So we notice our thoughts, we focus our thoughts, we redirect those thoughts in positive, amazing ways to create a life that we believed were only dreams, but now we know they are possible. We know that all the power of the universe is there within us. And so we see the good, we see the uniqueness of each person, we see the messages, we see where Spirit is guiding us, the direction. And we take that divine action, knowing that regardless of any challenges we believe or think that we are facing, they are only Spirit guiding us in maybe a different direction to wake up and to see the magnificence in our life. So grateful for this center, so grateful for the wonderful talks that Dr. Joe does that reminds us of the truth of who we truly are. I just say thank you. Thank you for all these lives that I know are unfolding in amazing ways, including my own. And I know that this is the truth, so I release my word to the law, knowing it is done. And please join me as we say together, and so it is. Amen. Have a wonderful week, everyone.